Welcome, gents. When we think about intelligence, most people picture the loud ones, the individuals who make sure everyone knows how smart they are. But here's the thing. Intelligence isn't always about flashy debates, degrees, or clever one-liners. Sometimes the smartest person in the room isn't the one you notice. Enter the Sigma male, a guy who doesn't care about showing off, blending into the background while watching everyone else reveal their cards. You might think you've got him figured out. Quiet, detached, maybe even a bit aloof. But that's where you're wrong. His intelligence isn't obvious, but it's far sharper and more strategic than you'd ever expect. He isn't the type to get caught up in proving his worth. He doesn't need to. In fact, he thrives on being underestimated because it gives him an advantage you won't see coming until it's too late. The truth is, a Sigma male's intelligence runs deep, working on levels most people never even consider. You won't find him participating in the intellectual pissing contests that so many are obsessed with. He's playing a different game entirely, one where he doesn't need your validation, your approval, or your applause to win. And by the time you realize how much smarter he really is, you've already fallen behind. Starting with number 12. He knows you're lying without needing proof. A Sigma male has a rare ability to detect lies without needing hard evidence. He doesn't rely on obvious signs like stammering or breaking eye contact. Instead, he's tuned into the subtle things, tiny shifts in your energy, the slight inconsistencies in your words, or the tone that doesn't quite match your story. Most people miss these cues, but for him, it's like reading a book. He doesn't need you to admit you're lying, he already knows. What's even more interesting is that he won't confront you about it. He doesn't see the point in calling out your dishonesty directly. In his mind, it's more useful to let you think you've fooled him. That way, he can play along and turn the situation to his advantage. Maybe it's in letting you dig yourself deeper into a lie or using the knowledge to see how far you'll go. His intelligence isn't about exposing you in the moment. It's about keeping the upper hand without ever making it obvious. By knowing when you're lying and choosing not to call you out, he remains in control. He understands that confronting you would tip his hand. Instead, he waits, gathering more information, observing how you behave under pressure. His ability to detect lies without proof gives him power over the situation. And often, you don't realize it until he's already several steps ahead of you. Number 11. He knows the difference between being smart and being right. A Sigma male understands that intelligence isn't about always being right. It's about gaining understanding. He doesn't chase after validation or feel the need to constantly prove his point in order to win arguments or boost his ego. For him, the goal isn't to be seen as the smartest person in the room. It's to learn, to grow, and to expand his perspective. This subtle but profound difference is what sets him apart from those who are driven by the need to always be correct. He knows that being wrong isn't a failure, but an opportunity to learn. When faced with new information or a different viewpoint, he doesn't cling to his position out of pride. Instead, he listens, considers, and adjusts if necessary. This kind of intellectual humility takes confidence, because it means being comfortable with uncertainty and acknowledging that there's always more to understand. While others may be fixated on winning debates or proving their superiority, the Sigma male values insight over victory. He's not interested in having the last word, he's interested in gaining deeper wisdom. This approach is what truly makes his intelligence stand out. It's not tied to ego, but to growth. His ability to separate being smart from being right is a rare and powerful trait, allowing him to stay open-minded and adaptable in ways most people never will. This is why his intelligence is not only sharp but grounded in genuine understanding. Number 10. Learning from mistakes, yours and his. A Sigma male has a unique relationship with failure. Unlike most people who fear making mistakes or see them as a blow to their ego, he treats failure like data. It's not a mark against his worth, but a way to gather information and improve. Every mistake, whether big or small, is simply another piece of the puzzle, showing him what works and what doesn't. He analyzes it, learns from it, and moves forward without dwelling on it. What sets him apart even more is his ability to learn from mistakes. While others need to personally experience failure to grow, a Sigma male observes the missteps of those around him and adapts quickly. He doesn't need to touch the fire to know it's hot. Whether it's watching someone make a bad decision at work or seeing a relationship crumble from poor communication, he takes note and adjusts his own approach without having to go through the pain himself. This ability to learn not just from his own failures, but from the mistakes of others, makes him evolve faster than most. He's constantly refining his understanding of how things work, building his mental toolkit without needing to stumble over every obstacle. This adaptability allows him to stay ahead, quietly improving and avoiding pitfalls that trip up everyone else. It's a subtle but powerful form of intelligence that makes him resilient and continuously one step ahead. Number 9, master of selective sharing. A Sigma male has a skill that many people completely overlook, the art of selective sharing. He's not the type to overshare or spill every thought that crosses his mind. In fact, he's the opposite. He knows exactly what to say to keep the conversation flowing or to make you think you've got the upper hand, while he holds back just enough to maintain control. It's a level of self-restraint that most people don't even realize they lack. What sets him apart is that he can give you the information you think you want while withholding what really matters. This isn't manipulation in the traditional sense, it's strategy. By only sharing pieces of the puzzle, he keeps others guessing. He can guide conversations, influence decisions, and even shift entire dynamics without ever laying all his cards on the table. The genius of a Sigma male is that he never needs to reveal his true intentions. While others are busy talking themselves into corners or showing off their plans, he's carefully curating what you see and what you don't. You think you're getting the full picture, but you're only seeing what he wants you to. This selective sharing keeps him intellectually elusive. It's not about deception, it's about mastering the flow of information so that, in the end, he's always a step ahead without anyone realizing how he did it. It's brilliance, disguised as simplicity. Thank you for being a valued subscriber. Your ongoing support is greatly appreciated and motivates us to continue creating meaningful content. We truly value your engagement. Number 8. He learns what's useful, not what's popular. A Sigma male doesn't waste time on flashy, trendy knowledge that's all about gaining social points. You won't find him chasing after the latest buzzwords, pop culture trends, or whatever topic is making headlines today. Why? Because he doesn't care about impressing others or keeping up appearances. He's focused on learning what's useful, skills and knowledge that actually matter in the real world, even if they seem obscure or irrelevant to most people. This makes his intelligence different from the showy type most people are used to. It's practical and sharp, not performative. While everyone else is busy trying to look smart by repeating what's popular, a Sigma male is diving into things that have long-term value. Whether it's a skill that will help him navigate a tough situation or an insight that lets him see the bigger picture, he's only interested in what he can actually. He's the guy who knows how to fix something without calling for help, or who understands complex systems while others are still reading the basics. And it's not because he wants to brag about it later. He simply values knowledge that gives him independence and control over his own life. While others chase the shallow waters of popularity, he's already mastered the depths quietly and effectively. It's this relentless focus on what's truly useful that sets his intelligence apart and makes him far smarter than people realize. Number 7. You won't realize you were outwitted until later. One of the most unsettling things about a Sigma male's intelligence is how stealthy it is. He's not the type to engage in power struggles or go out of his way to prove he's the smartest person in the room. In fact, he lets you believe you've won. You might walk away from an argument, negotiation, or conversation thinking you came out on top. You'll feel confident that you had the upper hand. Until, later on, it hits you that things didn't quite go how you thought. A Sigma male doesn't need immediate validation or recognition. While you're basking in the short-term victory, he's already thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead. He plays the long game, positioning himself in ways you won't notice until it's too late. Weeks or even months later, you'll look back and realize how subtly he guided the situation to his benefit, often without you ever suspecting a thing. What makes it even scarier is that he doesn't need to brag or announce his moves. His outwitting is so subtle that by the time you realize what happened, he's already moved on, leaving you wondering how he managed to outsmart you without you ever catching on. This ability to let others feel like they're winning while secretly steering things in his favor is what makes a Sigma male's intelligence both elusive and dangerously effective. Number 6. He knows the cost of knowing more. A Sigma male understands the price of being highly intelligent, and it's not something most people think about. The more he knows, the more isolated he becomes. It's not that he chooses to distance himself from others. It's that his deeper understanding of life, people, and systems naturally creates a gap. While others are caught up in superficial concerns or everyday dramas, he's already moved beyond that. And because of this, it becomes harder for him to connect with the average person on a meaningful level. He doesn't talk about it, though. He's fully aware that knowing more means he'll often stand alone, but he accepts this trade-off. While others might crave constant social interaction or fear isolation, a Sigma male understands that solitude is often the cost of mental clarity. Being ahead of the curve, whether intellectually, emotionally, or strategically, puts him in a position where fewer and fewer people can truly relate to him. He's okay with this, though. In fact, he sees it as necessary. He knows that trying to fit in with everyone else would only hold him back, forcing him to dumb down his thoughts or pretend to care about things that don't matter. For him, the price of higher intelligence is worth it, even if it means walking his own path without a crowd to validate him. Number 5. He spots patterns others can't see. A Sigma male's mind operates like a finely tuned algorithm, constantly scanning and processing information that others don't even notice. Whether it's in conversations, situations, or behaviors, he's always identifying patterns and trends that most people overlook. This isn't just about being observant. It's a deeper, almost instinctual ability to connect dots that seem unrelated to the average person. He picks up on subtle cues, whether it's the tone in someone's voice, the shifts in body language, or even the contradictions in their words that form a bigger picture no one else sees. What makes this ability extraordinary is how natural it is for him. He's not actively searching for these patterns. His brain just works that way, processing details and drawing conclusions without much effort. It's as if he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. And while others might get bogged down in the obvious, he's already 10 steps ahead, anticipating what's coming next. This talent doesn't just apply to people. It extends to everything in his life: work projects, personal decisions, even everyday challenges. His ability to spot these hidden patterns is a sign of his intellectual depth. It's not something flashy or obvious, but it's powerful. The Sigma male's brilliance lies in his subtlety. He doesn't need to announce his insights because they reveal themselves in how he navigates the world, solving problems before most people even realize they exist. Number 4. He masters the art of being unseen, yet never ignored. A Sigma male has perfected the art of being unseen, yet never forgotten. He knows exactly when to blend into the background and when to step forward, choosing his moments with precision. Unlike those who constantly seek the spotlight, he prefers to operate in the shadows, observing and absorbing everything around him. His subtle, almost invisible presence is intentional. He can walk into a room and remain unnoticed. But when he leaves, his absence is undeniably felt. What sets him apart is his ability to manipulate attention without actively seeking it. He doesn't need to talk loudly or draw attention to himself. Instead, his energy commands respect and curiosity. Even in silence, his presence resonates because he has mastered the unspoken dynamics of any environment he's in. People may not realize it in the moment, but when he's no longer there, there's a noticeable shift. The Sigma male leaves an impression not through force or flash, but through the quiet power of being fully aware and in control. His departure from any situation, whether it's an office, a social gathering, or even a brief conversation, leaves a subtle yet profound void. People feel it because, despite his seemingly low-key demeanor, his thoughts and actions always carried weight. It's a level of influence that requires no grand gestures or public displays. His mastery over being unseen but never ignored speaks to a deep, understated intelligence and self-awareness. Number 3. He anticipates outcomes others never see coming. A Sigma male's mind is always working several steps ahead, often seeing outcomes long before others even realize there's something to anticipate. This foresight isn't just about being cautious or overthinking. It's a natural part of his intellectual depth. He has an uncanny ability to read the room, the people around him, and the situation at hand, connecting subtle clues to predict how things will unfold. It's not about being psychic. It's about understanding cause and effect on a deep instinctual level. His ability to see both the positive and negative outcomes allows him to prepare in ways that others simply can't. What makes this foresight so valuable is that it helps him stay balanced, especially when things go wrong. While others might be blindsided by a sudden failure or unexpected change, the Sigma male has already anticipated the possibility of a setback. He doesn't panic or lose his focus when things don't go as planned. Instead, he calmly adjusts his approach because he saw it coming and mentally prepared for it. By expecting the worst while also keeping an eye on the best possible outcome, he's able to navigate challenges with a steady hand. This ability to anticipate outcomes is what sets him apart. He doesn't just react to life, he predicts it, giving him an advantage in everything from personal relationships to business decisions. His mind is wired for long-term strategy, and that gives him a level of mental resilience that most people simply don't have. Number 2. He learns best by taking things apart, metaphorically. A Sigma male approaches learning like a puzzle, one he needs to break apart to truly grasp. His method isn't about memorizing facts or simply absorbing information. It's about deconstructing things, examining the pieces, and figuring out how everything fits together. Whether it's a system, a person, or an idea, he doesn't settle for surface-level understanding. He digs deep, taking apart concepts in his mind to see the mechanics behind them. This approach gives him a unique edge. Instead of accepting things at face value, he breaks down the complex into its simplest components, analyzing each part to see how it contributes to the whole. By doing this, he uncovers insights and connections that others miss. He isn't content with just knowing something is. He wants to understand it works the way it does. It's this process of intellectual deconstruction that sets him apart. While many people are satisfied with a shallow grasp of things, the Sigma male thrives on dissecting and rebuilding ideas from the ground up. This method not only makes him a faster learner, but also allows him to adapt to new information quickly. He's able to see patterns, spot flaws, and refine his thinking with precision. This habit of taking things apart leads to a depth of understanding that few people reach. It's not just about gaining knowledge, it's about mastering it, one piece at a time. This is how he stays ahead, constantly learning and evolving at a level others can't easily match. Number 1. He underplays his success because it's never enough for him. A Sigma male never flaunts his achievements, no matter how impressive they are. He doesn't care about receiving praise or basking in recognition because, for him, success is a deeply personal journey. No matter how much he accomplishes, he feels there's always more to do, more to learn, and more to refine. It's not about impressing others or chasing accolades. Those things hold little value for him. His real competition is with himself, and that's where his internal drive comes from. Even when he reaches significant milestones, he views them as stepping stones, not final destinations. There's a quiet dissatisfaction that fuels his ambition. He's constantly pushing the boundaries of what he can do, setting higher standards for himself, not because anyone is watching, but because he knows he can be better. This relentless pursuit of growth isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about mastering his own potential. What makes this trait extraordinary is that it's rooted in self-discipline, not ego. He doesn't need to shout about his success or make a spectacle of his wins. In fact, he often downplays them because they don't feel like enough to him. He's always looking ahead, focusing on the next challenge, the next area of improvement. This mindset is a sign of deeper intellectual ambition and an unwillingness to settle for less than what he's capable of. For the Sigma male, true success is measured by his personal growth, not by what others think of him. In summary, a Sigma male's intelligence is often hidden even from himself. He doesn't seek to be the smartest in the room or show off his knowledge, which is exactly why he often underestimates just how sharp his mind truly is. His intellect isn't measured by loud opinions or endless facts. It's seen in the way he questions, observes, and processes the world around him. He thrives on understanding things deeply, not just accepting what's handed to him. His intelligence is also shown in how he approaches challenges. He anticipates outcomes others don't see coming, and he's constantly analyzing situations, always a step ahead. Yet he's rarely satisfied with where he's at, because he's always pushing himself to know more, to think differently. This quiet drive, paired with his humility, is what truly sets him apart. He doesn't need to be right all the time, and that's why he's so often right in the ways that matter. What makes him more intelligent than he thinks is this balance. He's smart enough to know there's always more to learn, and wise enough to keep pushing forward without needing to shout about it. It's a subtle brilliance, but one that shapes everything he does. And while he may not always see it, those around him often do. His intelligence shines through his actions, not just his words. Thanks for tuning in, gents. Bye for now, and see you in the next video. Take care and God bless.